Well, I appreciate y'all coming in.
Yes.
I want to get started right off the top
Okay.
before we even do introductions. You were just telling me about the event that you were doing for CEs with agents at the range.
Yes.
That's one of the big things that you do.
Yes.
I felt like, why even waste the conversation? Like, tell me all about it. So
Yeah.
where are you just now coming from?
So just left the Range Austin. The Range Austin has 2 stories. Most people only know about the bottom story, which is kind of crazy down there. Upstairs is a VIP only area. It's where you're going to see, higher, senators and people like that come over there. And so it's a real nice area of pool tables and bar and stuff like that. So you shoot and then you drink. You can't drink and then shoot. But they got a cigar lounge. So anyway, we did a appraisal class with Dave Thompson and talking about the new appraisal process that's coming out in November. A lot of realtors and lenders are learning about the process right now. So did an hour of appraisal class, and then we switched to an hour of realtor safety, where we teach realtors how to protect themselves and let them have some fun, get some stress out.
I love it, man. I did the event with you, it was about 6 weeks ago.
Yes.
And I didn't know about the upstairs either. I'd been in the downstairs where all the common folk get to be. And then the upstairs is like super nice, man. So it's a treat. And I know that's something you do on a semi-regular basis. So I wanted to make sure we led with that just so that the agents that, are looking for CE classes and trying to mix it with a little bit of fun. And I mean, I guess this technically would be education too, as far as, self-protection and things like that. It's a fun time.
Cool. I had a realtor who I was with for most of the time, and she purchased a gun 2 years ago and has never taken it out of the safe. And so she's like, I brought this so I can learn how to use this. And so it's been sitting here in her safe for 2 years, never touched it. So anyway, it was really good for them to even if they have no experience at all, they get to try it all out. And you know me, I've purchased a lot of tax deductible products for realtors to be able to use, and from small ones all the way up to bigger ones. So they love it. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So we've got Jazmin and Paul Guerrero with Allstate.
Yep.
Appreciate y'all coming on. Thank you very much.
Of course.
So we'll talk a little bit about the insurance stuff, talk about the marketing stuff that you're doing. But yeah, the events are fun. So we'll make sure we clip that out and we'll get the agents calling you and everything along those lines. But Paul and I originally met, it's almost been a year now. And we did a property tour a couple of months ago. And Paul sold a house.
We did. That's right. We did get it.
We closed last Friday.
Yes, that's amazing.
Done deal, So those of you agents, because I won't name any names specifically in regards to other property tours that exist where, they say, hey, you know what, we want to make this just about the agents. We don't want any sponsors on there or anything like that. I don't know how many property tours you've actually full blown sold a house to somebody who was on there, but it happened.
It happened multiple times, by the way.
Look at that.
Yeah, multiple times. Yeah, we love it. And then the St. Joseph always brings good luck to the tour as well.
Yeah,
and so,
got it done.
We got to do the St. Joseph's at every tour. So yeah,
we closed last Friday. I officially move in. We already have the keys, but
awesome.
Our big move day is Thursday, and we're using the moving company. I don't know if I've introduced you yet to the guys at Junk Pro. No, you did it. You just did it.
Yeah.
You just did an event with Junk Pro. Yes. So Tariq, he introduced me to the company that we're using for moving. Okay. And it turns out that one of the I don't know if he's an owner or a manager or what, but it turns out. So I'm placing my order to hire them.
Okay.
And it turns out that the guy I'm talking to, he and I know each other from like 7 years ago. He used to work at Fairway.
Okay. I'm trying to. It's not. Is it a Hispanic guy that was a black cowboy hat all the time?
No, Anson.
Okay.
So I just recognized the name and I said, "Dude, I know you."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Are you sure?" And then we kind of did the I met you here at this time at this place, and he was like, "Oh my God, you have a crazy memory." And I was like, I've never met another Anson.
Right.
So it was real easy. But the point of that entire long story is that the networking, the face-to-face, the events, they work, man.
They do.
They work.
They do.
People are doing business because they're getting out and they're meeting other people in the industry, and even to the extent of selling a $500,000 home.
It seems like the anti AI phase is coming to us right now.
I'm so happy about it.
They want to shake hands and they want to talk to people. They want to see eye to eye, and I think that personal touch, oddly enough, is coming back right now. So
definitely.
Yeah, it's the online, from an insurance perspective, like the Progressive and the Geicos, people are now wanting to talk to I want to talk to the same person every time I call. It seems like that special touch has been coming back lately, especially in the mortgage business as well.
Yeah.
I want to walk into your office. If I'm freaking out, I want to walk into your office. I want to sit down and talk to you. So,
or, if it's, I always say to people kiddingly, it's like, well, I'm here, I'm local. And that way, if anything happens where you're not upset, you know where to find me.
Exactly. 100%.
So before we get into your journey with insurance, I want to kind of hand it off to Jazmin. I know she started with you, almost a year ago, right?
A little bit more than a year, about 2 years.
What made you decide to get into the wild, wild west of insurance?
I never dreamt of being an insurance agent, that's for sure.
Okay.
Funny enough, I was a personal assistant before this job, so service just kind of came natural to me. I was a teacher before this as well. So teaching and serving, which is basically the bread and butter of insurance, just came natural. So I actually got hired with another agency first.
Okay.
Lost my job as a personal assistant, got hired with another agency. Fortunately, they couldn't take me on, and then they sent an email to Paul, and Paul took me on like this. And I got the way better end of the deal. So learning, training, but more than anything, what attracted me most to this agency is the amount of community that we're utilizing, from property tours. Like, I wanted to get on a property tour ASAP as soon as I started working because I was like, that sounds like a party. Now, it's a great opportunity for all the realtors to connect and for us to show this personal aspect that we have. That definitely sets our agency away from most agencies. But overall, I think it was really nice to see just the amount of caring that Paul gives to these realtors. They are really the ones who feed us and lenders and everything like that.
Sure.
But kind of like you guys mentioned, the AI phase is kind of going away, and people want this personal touch, this relationships and everything that's built. So it's all about following up and all that. So once I kind of realized I'm not going to be working for an agency where I'm making 150 calls a day, cold leads and getting hung up and not being able to get anybody, but we are overall just working through community, I'm more than happy to stay. I'm more than happy. I actually feel like a privilege to work for this agency in general. And then, like I said, I think I focus a lot on the Hispanic community. A lot of my Hispanos, and they choose not to know. But once you can educate them, hey, there's a bundle rate. Hey, there's this claim. Let's work on it together. Their appreciation, and they're the ones who refer the most.
Yeah.
Because they are community-based. So once you get a hold of them and they can trust you, they'll be like, oh, I know a girl, Jazmin. She'll give you a call. Oh, I know this person. I'm quoting a lot of my family because I'm just like, oh, we have a great homeowners product. Let's bundle. I know you have it separated. So it's just like, how much can we help? I feel like is the vibe of our agency.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, one of the things she's really good at is when it comes to Hispanic clientele, they don't always understand the language barrier sometimes.
Right.
And so they'll call a company and they're just going to give them a price. Here's coverage, here's a price. And they're like, in Mexico, you can negotiate. You can't negotiate rates here. And so they think they can negotiate. So what the online company does is well, can you lower it $100? So yeah, I can lower $100. They increase the deductible. They don't tell them they increase the deductible, but they take coverages off, and they don't explain that because of the language barrier. Our team is really good at explaining to them, this is what you're buying, this is what's not covered. And it's so huge when they have a claim that they know they can call Jazmin, and Jazmin can walk them through before you file a claim. Let's do this in their language they feel comfortable with. And so anyway, she does such an amazing job.
I think a lot of it too is like, there's this notion about insurance is always going to screw you over. And it's these stories after generations. And once you get to sit them down and realize, well, no, you actually signed up with this deductible without knowing that you signed up for this deductible. Or you actually signed up for this exclusion without knowing that you signed up for that exclusion. Once we're able to really break it down to each person, their appreciation is over the top. Just knowing that, hey, all right, this is going to be your 1% deductible. We can still quote at 1% deductibles. Or even if I were to say, yeah, go ahead, go get more quotes. Let me review them for you. Hey, did you notice that they put you at a 2% wind and hail deductible? So it's like how much knowledge I can give is where they appreciate the most. And the language barrier, I'm like, that's just not, it's just, unfortunately, you can have this language barrier. My parents have the language barrier, but unfortunately, the world is going to keep going on. So if I can provide that assistance as much as I can to as many people as I can, I'm going to.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Yeah.
You touched on something that it's really interesting. I was literally talking to someone today about this where I get asked all the time, hey, can you come in? Can you do presentations about your products and your interest rates and everything along those lines? And I'm always torn on exactly how to answer that question because as a broker on my end, I have access to anything that any other bank or lender has. But the reality is that, I think just like anything in life, when you take something away here, when you're giving something here, you're taking away from there. So like I get asked, one of the things that I hear on the radio a lot is like, hey, we're going to do, 5% down with no PMI, right? And this is just one of many examples where people don't understand, mortgage insurance somehow, I think it was about 10 or 15 years ago. I've been doing this a long time. It just, it became the devil.
Right.
For whatever reason, it just became this thing that like, if you're paying for it, you're wasting money. But the one thing I think most people don't realize is that interest isn't doing you any favors. Taxes isn't doing you any favors, right? PMI. And mortgage insurance is actually based on what we call an MI factor, but it's just a rate. So if you can follow the math here, if rates are 6% and you have a 0.5% MI factor, you're paying a fully effective rate of 6.5%. And it's a little crazy the amount of people that want to, or that feel good about, they'll take a 6.75%, which is a quarter higher, to say, well, I don't pay PMI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do you, with the client, it's a little easier because you do the education side of things. But from the real estate side of things, it's tough because anytime an agent leads with like, what kind of like gimmicky thing do you have that I can pitch? I always try to remind them, hey, it wasn't that long ago, but how many people are dating that rate that you told them and get that 2-1 buy down? And I was very vocal about that in the early stages of that, and I pissed a lot of people off. But I'm coming out real rosy on that. Exactly. And so how do you guys combat that? I know insurance, just sales in general. Auto sales has got that type of thing. Insurance has it. How do you walk that fine line from trying to say, hey, let me really explain, but at the same time, if you come right out, they kind of almost feel like you don't have the product. That's why you're saying what you're saying.
Right. Here's what I'll say. Back when I first started, we had those type of conversations, but for the last 21 years, we've really focused on educating the realtor and educating the lender. So when a consumer actually contacts us, we've already built rapport.
Right.
We've already built trust. All we got to do at this point is educate and then close the deal and on time. That's all we got to do. So I think what we've really done is focus on the source itself first to build that education. And then hey, listen, I don't know, but I always tell my realtors, I'm like, hey, listen, you be the source of the expert. Just give some basic knowledge and then refer to us and we'll educate them at that point. So our business is referral only at this point. And so when people actually talk to Jazmin, they already know these guys are good, these guys are ethical, these guys are going to treat you well, and you're going to close on time. You know what I mean? And so I think for us, that's been really nice because when we do contact people, we're not like,
because there's always someone cheaper.
100%.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Always someone cheaper. And you get that, you know what I mean? And funny story, yesterday I had a client who barely rented someone, and they switched from Progressive, and we have notes in our system that says, hey, we need to increase your liability limits because you have a $500,000 house, but you've got state limits of liability. Well, they got sued for $1 million. And we have notes saying we tried to help them increase their coverages, but they wanted to have Progressive. And so we did it. Well, now they're like, hey, what happens if it goes over $30,000? I'm like, it's out of your pocket. If it gets $1 million, you're going to owe $970,000. Oh, well, why did you do that? I was like, man, we had this really long conversation to educate you, but you really want to do this. And so sometimes, we can educate and we can help and we can show, but ultimately the consumer gets to choose what they want to do. And so that risk comes at a cost.
Well, I'll tell you from the lending side of things, the part that is super frustrating to me, and I'll name a couple names just because I hate working with them. It's like USAA, Progressive is another big one where from my understanding, they, provide good insurance, but we've had instances where these companies, and I tell my clients this, it's like, if I can't get in touch with the representative, this insurance can jam me up, and it is going to make it to where we will not close on time. Correct. And it can cost you money if we don't close on time. And my whole theory is that, Progressive and USAA, for example, the whole reason why they're like $150 less expensive for the entire year is because you, Mr. Customer, are the representative.
Correct.
You're calling on, you're getting the mortgagee clauses changed and everything along those lines. It's like you saved $150 because you just became their salesperson.
Correct.
And so that right there is like the first thing that I notice. And for some reason, I'm sure it's a personality thing, but people are like, it's okay, I can handle it, it's fine.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happens when they need to make a claim, because they have to contact us, because we have to endorse, on any claims. And they're like, I can't get a hold of my representative and this and that. And that is the number one piece as a lender, just like outside looking in and seeing the bad stuff on my end. That is the number one complaint. It's like you saved a couple bucks and now you just cannot get a hold of anybody, and you have a situation, you're trying to make a claim.
God forbid the closing date changes. I mean, we have built a business. Probably 20% of our business is built on closing date changes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, we moved up a week. They can't process it within 48 to 56 hours, and we're closing tomorrow, and we're okay, no problem. Let's knock this out, and we win the business there. So, closing date changes is super successful for us. So that's kind of nice too. Can't get a hold of them. So
I mean, one thing again, with as many transactions as I've done, I'm all about closing earlier if we can.
Yep.
In my career, I've had 4 separate situations, 3 deaths, and 1, sadly, suicide that was unsuccessful. And everybody, of course, those are terrible situations, but after everyone goes, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, they are literally like, I wish we would have gotten this done sooner, because it's pretty wild. And then COVID is another example where I legitimately had people that were like, oh, let's just wait until the regular closing date. And I had a lot of people get furloughed during COVID.
Right.
And it's like, now you don't get a house anymore.
Yep.
So I'm all about closing earlier. And to your point, I've had insurance companies that are like, no, we're not doing that. Like, this is, I guess, I don't know what the why is behind it. Maybe you can explain it, but they won't have it, and we'll just wait a week if we have to.
Exactly. I mean, the reason why is because their system can't process it fast enough.
Okay.
It has to go through a person and whatever, and so they just can't process it fast enough. So luckily, we can do it overnight. We have a lot of phone calls. 10 o'clock at night.
We have a huge team. Also, not massive, but we're a whole team that's willing to assist each other at all time. We have Nikki as our new business, so there's just too many hands for it not to get done. And then we give out our numbers like candy.
Right.
So if you really need to reach me at midnight because you're closing the next day, great. I will read your email, answer your phone call. You're not having to talk to 800 number and wait. So the accessibility and the fact that we're a team is like the bread and butter to us getting things done.
Well, and it's the events too. I mean, we got the shooting event, you've got the property tours. We got, I think we need to touch on the delivering of the cookies.
We definitely talk about deliver the cookies.
I mean, I have partaken in that. My better half, she's always like, don't bring those cookies here, because we end up, we eat them. Yeah, we crush them, man. They're so good.
They are.
Your wife makes those, right?
Mom does it now.
Okay.
So my mom does it. So the story behind the cookies is,
please.
30 years ago, so my dad was an Allstate agent for 30 plus years, okay? And so growing up as a child, I would come home on Wednesday nights, and my mom would be making dozens and dozens and dozens of cookies. It'd be all over the counter. So I'd come home from football practice, and there'd be cookies everywhere, and I'd eat a bunch of them, and I'd eat cookie dough. And then so my dad delivered cookies in Midland, Texas for 30 years.
Okay.
And so I just saw my dad out there making relationships. He knew every realtor in Midland, every lender in Midland. And so I just took his business model and kind of moved it to Austin. And it's my pop buys. Realtors also have, I can't remember that, there's a Buffini. The Buffini teaches about the pop buys.
Yeah.
It's my version of pop buys. Stepping in and delivering cookies. And it's so crazy because I've had so many realtors who go from Christie's to Compass, and then we go, hey, I'm at Compass now. I need my cookies. Come over here, and I can walk into Compass now, and no one says anything to me. They just let me just stroll around and hang out and do my thing, or wherever I want to go.
It's awesome.
Cookies have got me into so many random situations that you would never thought. I'm like, call my wife. I'm like, you'll never believe it happened. I got a phone call from this company who said they want me to come cookies, and I'm delivering, and I'm meeting new people and stuff like that. So anyway, it's my version of
the keep it simple stuff, right?
Exactly.
And then who made that banana pudding?
Oh my gosh, she makes a ridiculous banana pudding.
He's referring to the one that you brought to the office.
Oh, I don't. I don't remember who made that one. I don't remember.
But I make a very good one, which we will try one at Barbecue Mingle.
There you go.
Yeah.
I need to try yours because I mean, Paul brought this banana pudding, and that we ate that for like a week.
I got it out of my house because I was tearing that thing up.
We couldn't
I
stop.
Get out of here. Yeah.
For his birthday, I gave him a whole tray of banana pudding.
Yes, he did.
Actually, before that, I gave him a whole pack of Reese's Pieces, or Reese's Cups. And he said, "You a-hole," because he had a whole hour drive back home.
And they were gone by the time you got home.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
And can you imagine like how good those cookies are? I delivered those from like 9:30 until about 4:30 every single week, and in my car. I don't have time to stop and have lunch. So I just like have one, and once I have one, I'm gonna have 12. So.
You know what my favorite thing about those cookies
What's
are?
that?
I bet this is something that everyone who eats them doesn't think a lot about, but I cook a lot. And so I'm pretty aware of like what is in certain things. You have got what I would consider to be a really good amount of salt in those cookies.
Okay.
And I know people that are like, "Oh yeah, I'm not really." Yes, you are. You're into salt. You don't know it.
Yes.
And because I mean, the cookie itself is fantastic, but the one thing that I notice quite a bit, and it's not overpowering, but it's like. This is because you got the sweet, obviously, and then you got the salty going on with the pecans.
Well,
like it's done well. It's done well. Someone thought about that recipe.
You know what's funny about that is I've tried to duplicate my mom's recipe multiple times, but she has sassy cookies. She has I'm pissed off at my son cookies. She's got I'm pissed off at my husband. There's a different cookie every week because I'm like, Mom, what do you do? She's like, well, I threw this in this time. I tried this time. So depending on how she feels that day, depending on how the cookie comes out.
Interesting.
It's really in it because you'll notice they're never the same. They're always got a little bit different to them.
Okay.
So I was like, this week are sassy cookies. This week, Mom's not happy with me cookies because I didn't call on whatever. So anyway, they're always something different. So I can't ever duplicate the recipe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other? So we talked about the cookies. We've talked about the shooting events. We've talked about the property tours. I met y'all at an event that you sponsored with Patent Title.
Yeah.
Shout out to Maddie Ross.
Yes, yes.
Are there any other things that you guys do in terms of going after either agents or lenders for business?
We obviously do the, sponsoring the team meetings and stuff like that. But we do have 2 hours of CE that we do as well. What else, Jazz? I'm trying to think.
I mean, we do
We're very involved.
Flood presentations to. So a lot of our focus was a lot in Kyle and Buda. So we go to a lot of the events out there.
Have you been to Coffee with Kim yet?
Yes, it's massive.
I know. I've been to that
massive.
a few times.
However, I feel like it's a little too massive.
I was going to say it's a little overwhelming at times.
Yeah.
There's only so many people I can talk to. I only actually went once. And the amazing thing is that a lot of the same people go. So I was like, okay, I don't need to talk to these people that I've seen at 4 or 5 events already. I can target the new people, but I feel like everyone is targeting the new people.
Yeah.
So then I don't get a chance to talk to them or anything like that. And I even tried because it's there at the Subaru, and I'm like, hey, I'll be your preferred insurance
I wonder
person.
how it's doing for Subaru.
I wonder too.
I wonder too. I mean, it's it's been going on for a few years now.
That's
the parking
about
lot is full. I mean, it's full. I mean, probably last time I was there, it was at least 65 people.
But we do a lot of stuff in the market. Like every month, one of the things that I'm really proud of my team is every month we have passion projects, okay? And so the team, whoever, if they're involved in some sort of charity, we give $5,000 at charity every single month. So like, this past month was Nikki's, and what was she?
So it's a therapeutic, like horse stable thing. So a lot of kids go that have any type of mental challenge. They go, and Nikki, one of
Where's
our
that at?
representatives. That one is in New Braunfels.
It's in New Braunfels,
Okay.
Yep.
So she's actually she's a volunteer there, and she submitted it as a passion project, and we donate the $5,000. We've done Paws, we've done some other charities there in Cayo and Buda.
We had the organization that boys home that I believe it's either in Driftwood or Dripping. Then they do a lot of horse therapy stuff, and I had the director on for that right around Thanksgiving to try to raise donations and everything along those lines. And I went out to the actual, I don't know, I guess it's a ranch at the end of the day. And I went out there to see the whole facility, and we videotaped it and everything. And that was the first time I'd ever really heard of like horse therapy. I rode horses when I was younger as a kid, believe it or not, in Ohio. There's a lot of that goes on, and did horse camps and stuff as a kid. And then once I kind of got into girls, I got away from it.
Yeah. What's funny is my daughter volunteered at Marbridge, which is in Buda, and now because she loved it so much, now she's at Baylor and she's doing occupational therapy for special needs.
Right.
It's going to be her degree. And I was like, I'll pay for that degree because AI is not replacing that.
Yeah.
There's no way a computer is going to be able to deal with, the occupational therapy, getting, special needs back into to working and stuff like that. And so, that's an education that's expensive, but I can't see AI replacing that situation.
They did like a whole presentation on it because I'd worked with horses for quite some time, but never really even thought about some of the things that they were talking about where, horses being prey animals, but at the end, but they're also big. So you don't think about it that way, and just, working with them and how they can be skittish, and so can, kids that go through tough times and everything along those lines. So it was super interesting. But yeah, it was about 2 years ago. I cannot remember the name of the organization now that saved my life. We're coming up on about 300 episodes now.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, last I checked, we were at about like 280, like right around 280. And I was telling Sammy, I'm like, you might be number 300. I got to count again.
That's awesome.
But we're getting pretty close. So it's getting to the point where it's like,
yes, getting mixed up with
yeah, I do. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're not in the thousands or anything like that.
Not yet.
It takes time. It takes time.
Right. So then going back to, because one of the things I focus on this podcast, just to give a little context, in addition to just trying to create content, trying to get to know people, it started off as a real estate, really dialed down to real estate agents, but then we started bringing in outside vendors because I started to identify that a lot of the real estate agents, and including myself, a lot of these people are self-employed business owners. We started talking about, the ways that we generated business, what worked, what didn't. I mean, Paul, you've been doing this for what, over 20 years?
21 years, yeah.
Right. So I'd like to touch a little bit more. We talked about what you are doing as far as generating new business. I mean, what are other things, whether it be for new people or even just, people that are operating in other parts of business? What are things that you're doing that are kind of newer, that are working, or better yet, my favorites are, what are things that you've done in the past that definitely did not work out?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'll touch on a couple of things so I'm not a huge fan of sponsoring large events.
Okay.
I've sponsored, big events for Realty Austin and Compass and all these, and Keller Williams, and I just feel like there's a lot of distractions there, and I feel like you can't really build rapport. And like, if I can look you eye to eye, I want to do that. So I have found that smaller events for us, 3 to 12, people will ask questions. People will sit down with you and they'll take their time with you, versus the larger ones where everyone's nervous to raise their hand, ask a question.
Yeah.
And I've just noticed that smaller events where I can shake a hand, kiss a baby, it's going to be much more impactful to that lender, realtor, whoever it is.
Yeah.
I tend to stay away from the big Christmas parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I stay away from those. And I've done sponsored a couple boat parties.
Okay.
I won't do those anymore. It's a very high liability.
All right.
Giving realtors alcohol, putting them on a boat, and then
shipping them off.
And then shipping them off in a car. So we stopped doing some of those just from an insurance perspective. The liability is really high. And
that makes sense.
Gotten away from a couple of those. So, yeah.
Or even our property tours are pretty intimate. I mean, less than 10 realtors. They get to talk to each other. We're not in a caravan. We're all in a big party bus with mimosas and tacos, to where they really can not only write down their feedback, but give it to each other right then and there.
Yeah.
You have the ones that take it really well. You have the ones that get a little upset, and then they're intrigued on, why did you think that way about this property? Or why should I stage? Or why should I get a vacancy policy? Or why, whatever. So I definitely do think that our agency is a lot more about intimate relationships than anything, because I feel like it's just, I don't know, it gets the job done, I guess.
Well, and that's interesting too, because a lot of times, I mean, even with our barbecue, we've done big quarterly events where we'll get like 35, 40 people. And then it's kind of evolved, because when we first started it, I mean, we would have 20 to 30 people every single week. And then in the last probably about year, we're in a position right now where everybody kind of knows about it, and people come when they feel like they have time for it, where before it was kind of like, I want to check this out. And I feel like I've done better in the smaller groups than we have done with the bigger groups. But what's interesting is, of course, like, you talk to other people and they're like, oh, well, how many people come? And I'm like, well, right now we probably have like 10, 12 people. And I mean, I can't sugarcoat it. You see certain situations where people are like, ooh, well, that doesn't sound like a good turnout, and it's like, I like that you said that, because we've done some pretty big events where it's just a party.
Right.
That's
right,
all it is.
Right.
It's not good for business. I can plan an awesome party.
Correct.
But how many people can I talk to in one evening?
Right.
And furthermore, if there's enough people around, I'm the last person you want to talk to.
Yeah.
You want to talk to all the other agents that
Exactly.
or whoever. And next thing I know, I just foot the bill for a party.
Exactly.
Well, not only that, like, you get intimate with one person. That one person, you build this relationship. That one person knows 10 people.
Yeah.
You might get a hold of 3 of those people, and then it just kind of just tumbles.
Right.
And it's just like it's, I guess, quality over quantity.
Yeah.
That quality relationship will feed you, instead of having a big party and getting, tipsy and blah, 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 and this and stuff like that. I've just noticed that with a lot of these realtors we work with. They know one person, or I need to refer my niece to you. She has a coast house. Everyone's dropping her. What can you guys do? So it's like just more intimate, better.
Yeah. Well, and again, I mean, that's a great piece of advice that, truthfully, on almost 300 episodes, nobody has really brought that up, right? That's why I said my favorite is like, what doesn't work?
Right.
Everybody can kind of tell you what does, but it's like, what's not working for you?
I'll tell you one more thing.
Yeah, please.
A lot of my peers, so I do speaking arrangements for all state agents, because I'm the only one who does what I do, right? And so a lot of my friends, they'll spend $100,000 a month on leads, $100,000 a month on mailers. And I'm like, well, what is your return on your investment? And they're like, well, a 3% return. I'm like, what? You spent $100,000 to get
to make $3,000? Yeah.
I'm like, I don't. It works for them, and I'm not. But that's just not my. I would rather spend $1,000 and just really, Actually, I've just found that when we give to charities, when we give to things and support people, it always comes back. You know what I mean? We've got the right intentions. Our intentions are not to give to the horse farm to get business out of it. It's just to give and to help.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It always comes around. And so I'm a big believer in the whole, like, what goes around comes around. Put it out there.
Yeah.
It always comes back. Type of stuff like that. Do what's right. It always comes back. So, I mean, for me personally, the mailers and the leads, there's no relationship. It's just price. Who's the cheapest? And the second they have a claim, all of a sudden insurance companies screw everybody because they didn't buy the right coverage or whatever.
Right.
They wanted the cheapest. So anyway, yeah.
That's got to be the most frustrating part of the job. I mean, our businesses are very similar. It starts off real transactional, and you got to work really hard to change that mindset. And unfortunately, nobody believes anything you tell them until
something happens.
Yeah. Pretty much.
1000%.
And it's like, I have to win you over, and then just me winning you over, then I get to do the work.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I can't even show you what I'm capable of, and then, you can point to reviews, you can point to, I mean, hell, your real estate agent referred me.
Exactly.
So it's like, and then I think a lot of it too is, I don't think enough people are aware of, like, just the compensation that's associated with what we do. I think a lot of times people think like you're collecting that entire premium, or
I love it.
People. I have flat out had multiple people tell me that they thought that because interest rates are higher, that in the mortgage industry we are currently making more money.
Right.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
6-7%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then, to your point, I would be closing less deals and making more money. That sounds amazing.
Exactly.
That sounds amazing. So we don't do the leads. I love it. We do a lot of the face-to-face stuff. Before I get into any other stuff, anything else as an entrepreneurial side of things that you would encourage other people to do in business?
Our social media is pretty good right now, actually.
Okay.
We make Paul do a lot of funny videos. I think insurance is just
Why am I not seeing any of these?
You gotta check it out, dude.
Where are these at?
At the Paul Guerrero Allstate
now that we've been talking
Instagram.
now,
Well, we're
all of our
friends on-
phones,
yeah.
all of our phones are now pick it up now that we've been talking about it.
Is there a separate page? I'm
I have a page that's just mine. But
Yeah,
then the agency has a page. and
Okay,
I
gotta
they're
find that
hilarious.
one.
They're hilarious.
We have a really good media girl, Lexi. She like really encourages us just to do fun things, and it's all like the same thing, right?
Education,
But you can tell people like Paul on there.
Okay.
The views get higher, the likes get higher. I'll get realtors be like, "Oh my God, Paul, this video was so funny." But then we'll also get recognized as Paul's girls, right? Like that
Okay.
was. I remember going to the first few events after getting hired with Paul and be like, "Oh, you're Paul's girls," because they've seen our videos, and it's just a great way to connect. I'm like, "Yeah, it was pretty fun." It's just I get excited for media days because it's just breaking the routine of the office.
Sure.
And then it's just another way. Now we were learning about this thing on how we're going to have to attract more people in a social media aspect because Gen Z is on their social media 1000% morning and night and everything like that. What are ways that we can not only just post these videos, but get referrals or traction from them? You know, yes, we get these likes. Yes, we get these reposts. But at the end of the day, I want your policies.
Right.
So it's definitely something we're working on, and it's just a great time.
I like it.
Yeah.
What's the new big thing in insurance? I mean, every time I sit with insurance reps, there's always something new that's going on, whether it's, for a while. I mean, 2 years ago, it was obviously all the crazy stuff that was happening with, just natural disasters, premiums, inflation, all of the things. It seems like in the last 12 months, things have been kind of winding down a little bit. I'm seeing premiums become a little less expensive.
Yeah.
Definitely not as crazy as they were 18 to 24 months ago. What's the new exciting thing in insurance?
You want to talk about deductibles? That's a big one
That's
now.
roofs and deductibles.
Okay.
I think that is one of the biggest things. Allstate, we can still quote at a 1% deductible. There's a lot of insurance companies that have to quote at 2%, at least wind and hail.
Okay.
And that's,
And they don't explain that, by the way.
no, they don't.
They don't tell them, they say, oh, everyone's doing 2%. They tell the consumer, hey, there's been a lot of hailstorms, so here's a 2%. They don't, here's your premium. And the customer has to look and see what that is. It's Spanish to them when they're looking
Right.
at it. You know what I mean? So, sorry.
If I don't get to tell them, this is what you have to pay, and then Allstate's going to take care of the rest, then they didn't know they signed up for a $24,000 deductible or $12,000 deductible when it could have been, we actually can quote at 0.5% as well. But 1% is the typical, it's still like the holy grail. When I can explain to them, hey, your agreed amount is 1% of your total dwelling. What's my total dwelling? Oh, great question. That's the replacement cost for your home. Actually, I'm replacing your home at this much per square foot. And they're like, I didn't know all this happens in insurance. I was like, yeah, it does. And it's going to affect you and your wallet if you don't know. So deductibles are really, really big, because you don't know your deductible until you have to pay it.
Sure.
That's having Round Rock. Round Rock had some big storms last year.
Yep.
And people did not realize that their premium didn't change, so they didn't call anybody. Like the premium stayed the same, so they didn't call their insurance company. It must stay the same. Okay, cool. Well, when the storm came through, they're like, well, wait a minute. Why am I? So the average house in Austin, $750,000. That's the average purchase price right now, right?
Yep.
So the average deductible at 2% for a city in around Austin is $14,000 for a deductible for a wind hail. The average roof costs about $14,000. That's what that 2% means. And
Right.
so, we're coming in at $7,000 deductible or less, and people find out and they have a claim. Oh my God! Well, why is it 2%? They call back. Well, you told me to lower your premium, so I lowered your premium. Or we just sent this letter out to you. No one reads the letter. It says you've been mandatory increase at 2%. So we're not doing that, but it is becoming an industry standard. And the replacement cost on roofs is a big one right now too. So so if a hailstorm comes through, almost all insurance companies have a thing where at a certain years, 10 years, they begin depreciation. So what it means is if it's a $20,000 roof, they're going to depreciate 50% of it after 10 years. And then your deductible.
Because it's old already.
Correct.
Right.
So by the time the consumer gets a check in the mail, it's like $2,000. Well, wait a minute, this is a $20,000 roof. Why am I getting $2,000? Well, we depreciate it by 50%, and then you paid your deductible of $7,000.
When did that? Has it always been that way?
No, it's been happening the last 2 to 3 years.
Good.
Yeah, it's been happening the last 2 to 3 years where that.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
And it's like a scheduled roof. So yeah, you'll get a letter in the mail. Year 13, they knock it down to 40%, whatever. Allstate right now, we're doing 100% roof replacements up to 30 years. So we just got rid of the scheduled roof.
We're the only ones doing that right now. It's so weird. The entire industry is going this direction by depreciating roofs. and Allstate, some weird is going this direction and doing full replacement costs. I think it's because, this is my conspiracy theory. I think it's because I think there were probably so many lawsuits where people didn't understand what depreciation means that Allstate was probably like, I'm done dealing with this. Let's just give it to them and stop fighting this battle. I mean, that's my conspiracy theory. But I don't know exactly why Allstate did it, but they're going exact opposite what the industry is doing. So roofers love that because they get paid in full and fight over stuff. So our new policy does that. So
I mean, with 21 years in the insurance business, you know, I've owned a home for longer than that. And when I first bought a home, it was like you weren't like always trying to figure out a way to get a new roof.
correct.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know like when it hit. I don't know if it was in the last like 10 years or 15 years. Maybe you can tell me, but like I can't get over the amount of, and I think part of it is the roofing industry.
Correct.
Right? Like they're knocking doors and they're doing all of this stuff and they're figuring out ways to basically try to get people to make insurance claims.
Correct.
And it became a thing like, you know, the average consumer for a while there was like, why would I ever pay for my own roof? Like my insurance company will just cover it. And of course we all know that like when enough of that happens, things are just going to become more expensive.
Right.
So, I mean, can you recall like when that started happening? Was it always like that?
It is an area thing. So like my friends and clients who live in Dallas, Fort Worth, they get a major hailstorm once a year, every year. So their roofs are being replaced at least once every 5 years.
Okay.
But in this area, the Austin, Central Texas areas, we're the cheapest premiums in all of Texas. So if you go to Dallas, your premiums double, triple what we're paying here. The average premium here is probably $1,200. In Dallas, it's $2,400 as your minimum basic premium, right, for a $500,000 house and a 2% deductible. If you go down to the coast, it's triple because you got to buy TWIA, Texas windstorm, and you have to buy flood insurance in Houston. So it's triple our rates. You go to El Paso, same thing. They're doing that. You go to East Texas, they're a little bit cheaper, but they've got other issues they're dealing with. So Central Texas, we just don't have a lot of hailstorms like they do everywhere else. So roofs last longer, and so people in their roof, the granulars come off slowly over time. And so because we don't have a lot of huge hailstorms here, people want to get a new roof every so many years because they're not having these huge storms anymore. You know what I mean? So we still get them here, of course.
What happened to just repairing a roof?
That's here we work with we work with a bunch of amazing roofing companies. I want to be honest with that. Most people don't realize you can literally do floors today and you can be a professional roofer tomorrow. There's no barrier. There's no insurance requirements.
Okay.
And so finding good roofers who are ethical is hard to find these days. And so like calling an insurance company asking, hey, who's a good roofing company? Who do you work with? Stuff like that is great. You know what I mean? So the barrier for being a roofer is zero. And so you have so many people just knocking on doors. Hey, you want a new roof? Let's just file a claim and see what happens, and that just screws a consumer.
I mean, it's like the only thing on a home when you think about it, where like if there's even a minor issue, we're trying to figure out how to get a full roof replacement.
Right.
You know, I don't have a plumbing leak, and I'm like, well, we got to replumb this whole house.
Exactly.
You know, like those pipes are going to be a lot older than these new ones, and you know the pressure and this and that. Like, there's nothing else that is like roofing, and I don't know. As a consumer that owns homes myself, I just feel like we're kind of creating this problem for ourselves because at the end of the day, I mean, insurance is kind of based on what everybody's doing.
Correct.
And
I think that's one thing that consumers don't know. Insurance companies don't make money off of insurance. They make money off of taking your premium and investing it, and that's what they make their money at. If you look at the real numbers of insurance companies, you're going to see that what they pay out is typically more than what they took in every year. But because they offset it with investments and stuff like that, they make the money back. Yeah, do they make insurance? Do insurance companies make money? Yes, they do. We're not a nonprofit, but it's very interesting. Everything we do has to go through the Texas Department of Insurance, and they regulate how much profit you can make. State Farm just, I think it's in Texas, Louisiana, because they're a mutual company. They're having to give back like $1.6 billion of premium back because overcharging of premiums, and so it's very confusing how the whole system works. But ultimately, it's based off of how much we take in versus how much we pay out.
Right.
And most of the time, the numbers are very skewed because there's a hail season. Like the first quarter of the year is really profitable for insurance companies, but then hail season starts and it just decreases really fast. So anyway,
and it's also kind of hard to explain that. Like, it's to make it very simple. People call, my premium's going up. I've never filed a claim. Why? Well, unfortunately, a lot of claims have been filed in that garage and zip code. I know it is unfair. I can agree with you, But this is what we can do on the agency standards to lower your premium at a discount, requote, however that looks like. But just to make them understand that even though you didn't file this claim and you feel like you shouldn't have a higher premium, it's just not something that we can do.
Right.
Right. And then that's when they're like, I'm going to move. Great. Move. I'm more than confident you're coming back.
Right.
And I'm going to give you my direct line. So when you need a requote, you're going to call me back. Yeah. So
it's funny because insurance is one of those ones where it's paid up front. So like when inflation happens, you pay bananas or gas, whatever, and you pay a little bit more each day, each month, which doesn't hurt as bad. But insurance, it's all at one time. You know, your home insurance is all at one, all that inflation is hit at one time. And God, I don't know last time your viewers have had a car accident, but a bumper used to cost $500. You know how much an average bumper costs?
There's all the
these
technology,
days?
yeah.
Yes. It's
got 5 cameras in it.
Exactly. It's like a bumper now is a full
sensors.
computer. It's a $5,000, and that's a basic, like, let's talk about like a very standard bumper with cameras in there. It's a $5,000 bumper. And so I have customers call, like, I had a little fender bender. I'm thinking I'm gonna go to the body shop and see if they can buff it out, how much it costs to fix. And I'm like, okay, call me, let me know. And they're like, oh my God, I had no idea how much a bumper costs. And like,
cars have a lot of tech in them now.
It is.
Unless it's a Hyundai. Right?
How
much did that affect the business though? I mean, really,
the stolen cars?
Well, yeah, that's like the whole defund the police thing. And then all of a sudden, like people don't realize how things are just so intertwined, right? Yeah. So if you're in a city where you've got a lot of crime, I mean, you're the insurance people. I'm pretty confident that costs more to insure an automobile in that area. And if you have a car that's easy to steal, that's a problem too.
Also, explaining to people their older cars are more expensive because you're going against all these high-tech cars with thousands of cameras. That basically means they're a little less likely to get in an accident because they have this little thing that's going to bing or backing up cameras.
Sure.
But when I'm going to insure your 2015 Honda Civic, unfortunately, you don't have all those dings and whistles, so you are going to get a higher premium.
And the parts are harder to replace.
And the parts are harder.
I was going to say, and then when we total your car and you have to get a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
It's very interesting, man. But I just had another one happen yesterday. I think Teslas are amazing cars.
Sure.
So I'm not talking anything about Tesla.
It's okay.
But she hit a pothole, and the bottom of her Tesla scraped the pothole and did some damage. Totaled the car out. This is a new S, like a Tesla S.
Yeah.
And it's a 2026 and hit a pretty hard.
That's the last year they're making them. You know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Apparently they're pulling that model. It's like the only one I like personally.
Yeah, it's a good looking car.
I agree. Everyone said my buddy's wife owns one, and he's like, it's too boaty for me, but I'm into that. But anyway.
Yeah.
I guess they're getting rid of that one.
Yeah, they're totally. We've had multiple. The electric cars get totaled out because the batteries get damaged from the bottom from just potholes and curbs and stuff like that. So anyway, we got to replace it. That is what it is.
So we chatted about the deductibles.
Yep.
That's the new thing. Anything else new and exciting in insurance that people need to know about? I guess more important, the way I should ask it is, what's a conversation, Jazmin, this one's probably for you more than Paul. What's a conversation that you seem to have to be constantly repeating in the last 30 days?
Bundle. Guys, like, you just need a bundle. I feel like we've had more monolines in the last, I don't know, maybe it's just my feeling. But people will either go away for a little bit, and we have like these setups where we'll try to bring them back. You are losing a discount from not bundling in general, right? So when I have to explain to someone, yeah, I get it, you're with Progressive, but when you bundle, you save this much money, and let's see if it offsets that amount. Another one I feel like is...
Do you think that might just be laziness?
1,000%.
Okay. So people are just lazy. They don't want to change everything around and sign a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. It's a pattern. Hey, I'm upset. You raised my thing. I'm leaving. Great. Here's my direct line. Give me a call when you're ready for a requote. Actually, I'm going to reach out to you in about 5 months when it's time for you to renew. I'm going to bring you back. See if we can sustain that multi-policy discount or put it back on there.
Right.
But then the pattern continues. Oh, my homeowners went up now. I wonder why. You just lost your multi-policy discount. How about you come back? No, I'm just going to leave because I'm so mad because you did that to me. Okay. So then, great. I'm going to follow up with you in 5 more months. And then they're like, oh, man, I had a claim. It was the worst thing ever. I couldn't get a hold of nobody, blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah, Paul calls out almost every claim that we've had and gives out his personal number like candy. So, yeah, we're a lot better. You should come back. I think the other thing is going back to the deductibles, we try to make it a thing where we educate them on their deductibles, but not only that, don't follow a claim just because you think you should follow a claim. we always encourage, give us a call. Let's see what we can do. Maybe we can send a roofer out there just to look.
Right.
Is it claim worthy? Is it a repair that's under your deductible? Because once you get a claim number and a claim going, it's nearly impossible to get it removed, even if you don't get paid out.
Right.
So I feel like that's a conversation that we have a lot. And then a lot of our book of business is they're growing and they have kids and their kids have kids and so on and so forth. So it's like now we have to educate the kids that don't want to pay or they want to stay on mom and dad's policy forever. And unfortunately, it's just not going to, they live in a different home and there's a lot of logistics when it comes to that. So I feel like overall the same conversations are happening, but it's just happening to different generations.
I want to go back to the making a claim thing because it relates a little bit to my business. Yes. And so I think it's interesting that you mention it because correct me if I'm wrong, but I would envision that when someone goes to make a claim and you're kind of like, well, wait a second, let's look at this. The knee-jerk reaction is, oh, you just don't want me to make a claim. Correct. Because then you're going to have to pay out. And it's like, look, I don't care what you do.
Right.
Right. Like, we're on the sales side of things. Like we've sold you your policy, whether you make a claim or not, doesn't put food on either one of y'all's tables. It's the same thing with me in terms of refinancing. Right. Like, and it's like, look, it has to make sense. So then we'll look at the numbers and I'm like, yeah, you definitely shouldn't be refinancing. And then all of a sudden I'll get an alert or something along those lines to where I find out that they're moving forward with another company. And this mortgage company will charge like $20,000 and just tack it onto their balance and save them $250. And I'll call and I'll say, hey, I saw that you did this. Like, let me point a few things out. And then, of course, to your point, like they kind of feel misled, disappointed. It's like, look, I didn't tell you that a refinance doesn't make sense because like wherever you go doesn't like your loan is done at this point. Right. So I experienced the same thing, and I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's once again just like, is that the client or what is it? It's like, well, they saved me $250. It's like, buddy, they just tacked 20 grand. Like
you're in balance.
You better not sell this home or refinance for 10 years now.
I think one thing that we've seen from the California fires. So the California fires started it, but then there's the Colorado fires, and then there's the Santa Fe fire. All these fires happening right now. What most people Reno fires, most people don't understand is dwelling coverage. And I want to cover it if you don't mind.
Please.
So the cost of lumber, labor, and material in the last 5 years has doubled and then tripled in cost to build a house. And we had a customer not long ago ask us, hey, Progressive came in cheaper than us. They're about $1,000 cheaper a year. And I'm like, okay, can we see what you're looking at? This was like a 3,000 square foot house, and they were curving it for $125 a square foot to rebuild a house. I was like, even a DR Horton Homes, they can't rebuild. They can't build a house for $125 a foot. So here's what I want you to do. I know that we're more expensive. I want you to call any builder, any contractor and ask them what it costs to rebuild a house, because we quoted you at $225, $230 a square foot to rebuild your house. So I want you to call someone and ask them what they say, and they'll come back and be like, wow, I had no idea it costs this much. That's why our dwelling's $1 million and they're $500,000. Yeah, we're more expensive because we're covering you, but the consumer doesn't understand. If your house burns down and it's $1 million to rebuild your house, guess who's getting a second mortgage in their house? Yeah. You are, because you're underinsured. And anyway, so in California right now, that's a big thing they're saying is all these houses, when a mass fire happens, the cost of lumber and labor even doubles again, okay? And so people can't rebuild their houses there because they were insured for $5 million, but it costs $10 million to rebuild their houses. Same thing, the Colorado fires. All these fires are happening right now. And guess what city in the country right now is ranked top 10 in the country for biggest wildfire problems?
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've talked about this a lot.
It's a big deal. And so, like, the Barton Creeks, and they have all these, everyone wants greenbelt behind their house.
It's all that cedar.
That cedar is just a match waiting to light up. And then I had funny, I was before this at the appraisal class, someone was like, well, why is it such a big deal? Well, we've had so much rain. Well, what does rain do? Rain makes trees grow bigger. Rain makes growth underneath grow bigger. And then we have this we're having right now, which is a huge drought. Everything's dry. It's just a light waiting to happen. And so anyway.
Well, and you got a lot of crunchy granola people that don't want to get rid of brush and everything like that. It's like, hey, have you had somebody go back there? Have you gotten rid of brush and all that? And they're like, oh no, let nature do its thing. It's like
Yeah,
it will.
well, it will.
It will.
It will, and it has.
Yeah.
For thousands of years, it has taken care of that kind of stuff. And so, anyway, I think that the dwelling cost and really looking at your policy, understanding, am I covered correctly? And just I was give you an example. One of my best friends, he's a CPA. He knows everything about everything. And
Just ask him, right?
Exactly. Well, he bought a house from like D.R. Horton or Lennar or something for $500,000, and he's like, I want $500,000 of coverage, and I was like, man, dude, I can't do this. It needs to be at 750. And he was like, no, I want it at 500,000. Well, his house burned to the ground, okay, during Snowmageddon last year or 2 years ago.
Gotcha.
And to rebuild this house was $800,000.
This is a different time.
Exactly. In the course of a year, 2 years, this happened, and so he's responsible for $300,000.
D.R. Horton didn't require an RCE.
No, well, I won't get into all that because the loan was covered. The $500,000 loan was covered at $500,000 coverage, but that wasn't enough anyway. So the dwelling coverage I think is a really big thing, and then I also think on the car insurance side, I don't watch TV anymore, or cable TV anymore. Like no, I don't think anyone does. But if you ever randomly turn on TV and it's cable TV, you got a TV, and then what's the first commercial that you're going to see?
Minute Lawyer.
Oh, okay.
A lawyer. It's going to be a lawyer. The first commercial you see is going to be a lawyer.
I'm
the
on
next
top
one's
of
gonna
it.
be a chiropractor.
The fours.
Exactly.
The fours.
If you watch TV, it's all attorneys. And so, unfortunately, when you rear end someone, you can, and a police report is filed. That police report is then sold at the end of the day to the attorneys, and they start calling, hey, I want to represent you. I want to file a lawsuit on your behalf. Well, what most people don't understand is once we pay out our max limits, it's on you at that point. And so really understanding we are living in a very litigious society right now. And once we pay our max, it's on you at that point. And so I think everyone understands the lawyers are winning right now. And so we need to make sure that we are properly protecting our assets. And so we really lean on asset protection versus the cheapest price. And so I think those two things, dwelling costs and understanding liability, how important it is very important right now. So
Can you cover some of the things that people are probably forgetting about in regards to insurance? I think the majority of people understand. I mean, we as a lender make people insure their house, and there's a lot of loans on cars, so they're forced to insure their car. But are there any insurances that y'all suggest or that you feel a lot of people are missing out on?
yes.
I would say an umbrella policy for sure.
Okay.
Umbrella policy is just once each policy maxes out on that liability, 300,000 on typical homes. We try to do 300,000 on autos as well, or 100 to 300. Then your umbrella kicks in, and then it's up to $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, as much as you want. But like the way Paul was saying, it's just that these minute lawyers. I actually learned when I was working in California for a little bit, there's like billboards. I'll help you sue your boss. I'll help you do this.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just people who look for it, unfortunately. So when I have to explain liability to a lot of people, it's like, how do I explain liability in a way of like, you got to watch your back. And overall, we're going to protect everything that you've worked for.
Can you unpack an umbrella policy a little more for those that might have like heard what you just said, but was, okay, I've heard of that, but I don't know what she means?
I'll start with what it's not, okay?
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that an umbrella policy covers everything that the home policy doesn't cover, and the car. They assume that it's like it's an extra coverage that covers things that like water damage or something like that. The home policy doesn't cover it, so the umbrella, that's not what it is. So go ahead.
What it covers is just the liability part. So liability is in the event that you are found negligent, right?
Okay.
Someone finds you negligent of something. They cut their hand at your house because your knives were too sharp. They slip and fall. Little Timmy has number 2 Timmy come over and jumps off the trampoline and breaks his foot. Now the parents want to sue you because you didn't have a net on your trampoline, or it was too close to the fence and he bumped his head, or rookie step, everything like that. So like he said, it's not any exclusions that are on your homeowner's policy. It only has to do with the liability part. Liability in we're protecting your assets and making sure that your wages, everything you work for, are not going to be garnished the moment that they call a minute lawyer. That's like the easiest way I can kind of say it. Like, you worked hard. I bought my own home.
Who do you suggest needs an umbrella policy that might not have one right now?
If you own a house that's worth more than $300,000, you should have an umbrella policy.
Okay.
That's a very simple. And then the more assets that you acquire, so you take your total assets, you add them all up, and then that's what your umbrella policy should be at. So if you've got $1 million of assets, it needs to be $1 million, $2 million. We'll go from there, because that's what they're going to pursue. Now in Texas, they can't take your retirement, they can't take one of your vehicles, and they can't take your home, but they can put a lien against your house if you ever refinance it or sell it. They can garnish wages and stuff like that. And so it's really important to kind of understand and protect assets. For $250 for an umbrella policy, it's so cheap.
Sure.
And it makes you sleep better at nighttime as well.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Any other big losses that you've seen that if somebody may have, just had better education on insurance, that it wouldn't have been such a sad story?
I think building codes is a really good one.
That's like I was saying. Exactly.
Building codes is, all the codes change in almost every city. They
City
change
of Austin's
overnight.
they're always trying to be greener and more efficient.
Right.
So in the event of a total catastrophe to your home, burns down to the ground, we have the agreed amount. But now to bring it up to code is a different price. So there is this coverage that we can add on. It is a fireable offense in our agency if we don't add it on, or at least educate the consumer on, hey, we're going to put this 5% of your total dwelling. It's an additional $70,000, $30,000, however. And this is going to go to those homes that are completely out of code. What we've seen, learning with working with a lot of roofers, is that roofs get out of code pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because they need this certain shingle or this certain metal or this certain wood or however. So letting them know this is just an extra protection more than anything, because if you don't have building codes, then you're the one that's going to be responsible for bringing it up to code. Yep. Your policy is not going to help you with that.
It's small stuff too, dude. I mean, the roofing is, when a roof has to be replaced, has to have thicker decking or has to have this little thing that goes over the side. But even plumbing, when someone has like a dishwasher that overflows and floods the floors, well, that piping back there was something else. Now we got to upgrade all the piping. So it's called ordinance of law or building codes coverage. It's a huge one. How much does it cost a year for that coverage? It's
I think it's like $60 a year.
$60 a year.
Depends on, you can go from 5, 10, 15% of the total dwelling. So then whichever one you pick, we usually always recommend 5.
Yeah, and for all the Austin realtors, if there are Austin realtors listening, there's a new thing called the WEU or WUI, and it's wildfire prevention that Austin is doing. So here's a good example. I had a client whose tree limb fell on her wood deck, okay? So she had to file a permit to get that wood deck fixed and stuff like that to bring all the workers in there, okay? Well, she found out she's in the WUI area in the 183 area, 183 Mopac area, 1A, 1B, and that is part of the WUI area. And so City of Austin made her, so when she filed for a permit, she had to remove the wood deck and replace it with Trex decking.
Okay.
She had to trim back the trees and she had to add in something else, some sort of fire thing around her gutters, okay, to prevent wildfire from happening at her house. Well, if she didn't have the ordinance of law coverage, she'd been out of pocket $90,000.
Oh, wow.
That's how much it costs to put in this new Trex decking. And so for the realtors, understanding the WUI rules is really important right now, or just buying the building codes coverage and making sure it's on all of your policies, because it's huge. I can't. Building codes is a huge one for me as well. And then for all of our condo clients out there, the loss assessment coverage.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know how it's not supposed to be on there.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can buy a condo and not have loss assessment. It's
all changing from a lending side now. We just came out with new laws in respect to that. So we used to be able to do what was called like a limited review for some of the condo insurance and everything along those lines. And now, if you have more than 10 units in a condominium complex, there is no such thing as a limited review anymore. And so you can't even get a loan anymore if these condo regimes, or whatever you want to call them, the HOAs, aren't up to where they're supposed to be in regards to coverage. So, yeah.
We have the big condos. They're seeing huge, 1,000% increases in premiums. And so what they're doing is they're saying, okay, well, we can't afford this, so why don't we take our deductible from $1 million to $10 million? And so if you don't have loss assessment coverage, they're going to assess everyone in that complex, $100,000 each to pay this massive deductible. And that's the only way to keep their premiums from going up 1,000%. And so loss assessment coverage is critical. Most insurance companies don't improve it. We have fireable offenses in our office, and that is a fireable offense, not to include this.
Yeah, I'm not a big condo fan personally for a lot of reasons, but one of the things that I run into a lot is that, it usually happens with like first-time home buyers. They go out, they look at the market, and, they're worried about their budget, and all of a sudden they're like, ooh, I like this condominium. It's only $250,000. And of course it carries like a $300,000 homeowners association due. And it's like, well, we could increase your purchase, your buying power by like another $150,000 if you purchase something that's not in an HOA. And I typically encourage that because, you know, it's better for resale and whatnot. But the crazy part is that a lot of those condos are non-warrantable because they're not collecting the amount of money that they're supposed to be collecting. Right. And a lot of my clients that went, no, this is what I want to do. I follow up with all of my clients, and now they're all complaining because a lot of these HOAs are required now to start collecting for this money. And they're like, yeah, my HOA is like doubled.
Right.
And I went and purchased this property because I was so excited about the purchase price and kind of the lower payment. And it's, you know, increased exponentially because now they're trying to claw back money so that they can carry the right amount of insurance.
Yep. It's become a problem. It's become a big problem. And
there's no loopholes.
There's no loopholes. No.
It goes back to the like origin of this podcast, right?
Right.
You're always thinking like, hey, Matt, you got any programs or pricing that could like, you know, listen, yes, but like at the end of the day, there, you know, you didn't figure out this hack by purchasing this $250,000 condo. Like it's
I just don't understand how you can go from buying a 900 square foot condo for the same price that you can buy a 1,500 square foot home in Buda or Kyle. You know, like it just doesn't, more space. You're going to resell quicker. I don't understand that ideology on, let me buy a condo. I get the ones that are probably like smack down the middle. You're walking everywhere. Probably you don't have to own a car.
I mean, for the most of it, it's either purchase price. It's either they think it's going to be more convenient because there's, you know, the landscaping, this, that, and the other. And typically, if I'm being honest, what I find is that a lot of people think they're going to buy them. They're going to live in them for a short period of time, and then they're going to rent them.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of these condominiums have straight up restrictions against that. I had a guy that was, you know, because these HOAs can foreclose on you. File liens on your property, which can put you into foreclosure. And I had a gentleman I had a conversation with and everything. And sure enough, he met a girl and he's like, oh, I'm going to rent it. And he started renting it anyway. And they filed liens against him and everything. I mean, it was a real thing.
Owning your own is nice. Yeah. So I think those are some of the core things right now that we're seeing. And yeah, I mean, the industry's always changing right now because of profitability, you know, and ultimately they're not.
It's got to come from somewhere.
Exactly. So.
And profit's not a dirty word.
It's not a dirty word. It's not a dirty word. No one here, no one works for free. That's for
correct.
Sure. No one.
So, any upcoming events that we need to know about?
Yeah, we got a lot of upcoming events. We have so every 2 weeks we have that appraisal class at the Range Austin where we do 1 hour CE for appraisals. And then the shooting stuff as well. We've got tours typically 2 to 3 days a week, every single week. Depends on the part of town we're in. And so those typically fill up really fast. You know.
I know one of our other agents, Danielle, she's going to be doing a tailgate for UT. That's going to be a pretty cool event. I mean, football season, everyone wants to go, especially being in that area. But we're honestly, we sponsor a lot of these intimate ones. I think our kicker is not so much how many events we can have, but how much we can invite or fill our current events, which are property tours and the gun range events and whatever else we decide to do.
Well, if I'm a real estate agent watching this clip and hearing about all these fun things that y'all are doing, how do I be a part of that?
Just text Jazz, text myself, and say I want to have some fun, and we'll get you with the whatever's coming up. We love text messages. Realtors, they love text messages.
Oh yeah,
they prefer that, and so. Just let us know and give us a shout.
If I put my hand here, will you put my phone number?
Yeah, well, we'll do the clip and we'll have you all tagged in it and everything like that. And I'm sure you guys do a good job of making sure that your contact is available, and just want to make sure that if anyone wants to be a part of it, that they know how to get a hold of y'all.
Awesome, we love it.
If you got anything else you want to say it now. Believe it. Look at that. We did like an hour and 10 minutes.
I love it.
Wow.
Flies, right?
One thing I will say, the realtors out there that still to this day a lot of them are not aware of. There are 2 flood zones in the city of Austin. Okay, there's a FEMA flood zone and there's an Atlas 14 flood zone, and they are not the same maps. And when you go into MLS and you click on an address, it's only going to show you old FEMA forms, not current FEMA forms, and it's not going to show you Atlas 14 maps either. So be a resource to the expert. We just text us the address, and we'll respond back with a full clue. We can do a clue report for you. We can do the flood maps for you. And so we're the experts. You're the experts when it comes to contracts. We're the experts when it comes to insurance. Just text us and the address. We can do the full research for you.
So to be clear, if I'm listing a property as a real estate agent and I really want to be good at my job and I want to do diligence on the property that I'm about to list and find out what type of flood reporting it has, find out what kind of claims it may have had in the past and everything along those lines, I can get in touch with one of y'all and you'll do it for me. And what does that cost?
Zero.
Zero.
Cost our time. It's all cost. And, I always prefer to fight on the offense, not the defense. I've had too many realtors who call me and say, hey, we're under contract, and they just told me that I'm in a flood zone, or they just told me that my seller didn't disclose 2 water claims that happened because there were 0 paid water claims. They didn't think they needed to disclose them. And so it pops up on a clue report. Now all of a sudden, now my realtor's fighting from the defense, and they're already in a buyer's market. Now they find out there's been 2 prior losses, and now they're fighting against everything. You know what I mean? And so it's so important to be ahead of everything.
Yeah.
We work with so many realtors who are on top of it when it comes to the processes. And so we've got some great processes when it comes to the clue report, just texting us on the flood stuff, asking us random questions. Hey, this roof is over 12 years old. What's going to happen? You know what I mean? Or, hey, I'm in Barton Creek. Am I going to have to deal with this green belt? Yeah, you are. So how do we get ahead of that kind of stuff? And so if you've got questions as a seller's agent, on the buyer's agent side, if you've got older roofs, we can help negotiate a new roof if you need that as well. So
I love it.
Yep.
Appreciate having you all on, Jazmin. You got anything you want to cover before we cut loose?
I think just, again, it's like referral. I mean, overall, realtors, you're out there, you want to do good by your clients. We do good work. Just utilize your community. Give us a call. We'll make sure we take care of them. We'll provide whatever it is that they need. And this is for your business as well, because once you have such an amazing service to this one buyer, seller, whatever, then I don't know how to explain it. Like, people know people. I love people. And I'm like recommending people left and right. Like, I brought Luis for the tacos over here. I'm just like constantly thinking of ways to utilize community. So we are community, and you give us a call and we'll make sure they get taken care of. And that person probably knows 20 people that's going to refer you as well as a realtor.
We went there for dinner the very next day.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, the place is legit, man.
The cuties, it's awesome.
I got the chubarito.
Okay. Was it delicious?
Dude, we'd been working all day. I've already got some of the things demoed on that new place. We got the keys the day before, and I hadn't eaten all day. And I'm like, let me get this chubarito. And he's like, yeah, for sure. And he's like, I designed this because at the time I was trying to figure out a way that I could get 200 grams of protein into one meal. And he goes, this thing has 170. And so I got it, and he came over, and he's like, you ate that whole thing? And I don't know if you met this dude, but he's a big dude. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I haven't eaten all day. He's like, all right, well, that tracks, because otherwise, like, you're a fucking savage.
Yeah.
Like big dude as in like big dude or like belly dude?
Both.
Yeah. Okay.
He's like, he works out, but he doesn't say no to a cookie.
Sounds like me.
He's got to be like, if I'm guessing, he's like 6'3", like 250, 260.
Okay.
Yeah, like linebacker shit.
We'll get them to sponsor. They haven't had the opportunity to sponsor any of our company events yet, but I'm sure they will. We'll get them. We'll get Luis connected with all of Allstate. He actually used to work for Allstate, which is funny enough.
Okay.
For another
We should
agency.
have him on the podcast. We'll get him on here.
I'll
like
schedule
him a
it
lot.
like that.
Yeah, do it. You got to check the place out. It's like right by where we. It's over at the. It's behind the Manchac Sports Saloon,
Yeah.
right behind there where Lulu's is, which
Lulu's and Bodie's.
we've had the ATX drinker on here a couple different times. He's one of the food influencers in Austin, and he swears that is the best margarita in South Austin.
Really? That's a freaking standard right there.
I'm telling you. So, if you got Lulu's on the left, he's almost directly across the parking lot right there. So you can get the best margarita in South Austin. You can go ahead and check out Luis's spot. What is it? Tacuties? Tacuties.
It's called Tacuties, tacos for cute people.
I mean, it was legit.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
good.
Now I'm starving.
There you go. Appreciate y'all coming on.
Of course.
Thanks,
of course.
y'all.
Thank you.